So apparently the the Biden regime has created this Ministry of Truth through the Department of Homeland Security. And I guess what they're saying is their focus is on Russian disinformation and how that's a threat to national security. And we've heard all of this before, right? Like Russian disinformation, just like Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. And then, it turned out that they actually lied about that and it was actually real. Crazy. But I don't know how, like, anyone can take these people seriously. Like, they're trying to set themselves up as the arbiters of truth when they've consistently lied about everything. I mean, going back for decades, right? Like, the cabal that runs your country, the group of international banks and multinational corporations that run this economic zone that we're, like, pretending is a country, like, they've consistently lied about everything. They lied to send your sons into a 20-year war, and they robbed your grandchildren to pay for it, and they killed millions of people. And it was all based on a lie. And talking about Russian disinformation, it's like you've lied about that very thing, all right? But now they're pretending like we need to set ourselves up as the arbiters of truth to combat Russian disinformation, to protect democracy. Like, it's crazy how fast we went from democracy dies in darkness to we need censorship to protect democracy. It's crazy how fast that happened. I think it was about like 5 years. We went from democracy dies in darkness to we need censorship to protect democracy. And it's hilarious to even pretend like you can have a democracy when your information is controlled. Okay? Like, I don't think your everyday American has been so conditioned and propagandized their entire lives that they don't even understand like what the underpinnings of a truly free and liberal society is. And like the most basic thing is freedom of information, freedom of speech. That's the the very basic thing you need for a free and open society. When your information is controlled, you're not free. When your information is controlled, your mind is controlled. Like, people don't understand that censorship is a civilization ending level threat. All right, on a long enough timeline, that's how North Korea happens. Like, oh, you don't think Kim Jong-un is a god and everything you have comes from him? Well, that's disinformation. We're going to have to kill you and your entire family. And like 2 generations or 3 generations. Like, that's how it starts with stuff like this. Like, disinformation. Like, disinformation or misinformation is not a threat to people who have deductive reasoning skills. It's not a threat to people that think. It is a threat to authoritarian regimes, right? Well, not misinformation and disinformation, but the truth that they label as misinformation and disinformation. When they're like the biggest ones that are distributing disinformation. Like, oh, remember when it was like, well, if you get the needle, you won't get sick. And now we literally have like Kamala Harris who's gotten the needle, gotten all of the needles, and now, well, she got the scary. All right, so obviously that was a lie. Like, it's self-evident that was a lie. But again, like, anyone who questions them, no, that's disinformation, even though they've consistently lied and they've consistently been wrong on everything. Like, it's so ridiculous. And it's always, like, they will always use, like, this excuse of national security. Like, oh, the Patriot Act. Well, it's for national security. Yeah, we just have to, like, create this dragnet of like, this security state where we constantly are collecting data on you every second of your life. It's for national security. When, like, to even pretend like this is a country with national security interests is a joke. Like, we don't have borders. Our food supply is obviously being attacked. Okay, but we're like, oh, Russian disinformation is a threat to national security. It's like maybe the food supply obviously being attacked is a threat to national security. Oh, wait, but the administration is actually paying farmers not to farm right now. They're paying farmers to not farm their land. While even the administration itself, the little like demented puppet that they have pretending to be president, is like, the food shortages, they're real. It's like, yeah, and like your administration is making it happen. Like, it's obviously engineered. Oh no, and we also just have to cull all of these chickens and turkeys because, well, there's like some bird flu or something, and oh no, we have to like recall all these hundreds of thousands of pounds of ground beef because of like some E. coli scare. It's like, oh, and there's all these like food processing plants that are just catching fire randomly. Like, oh, crazy. But no, like, that's not a threat to national security. People questioning the narrative from the regime, that's a threat to national security. But it's really not a threat to national security. That's the thing. It's a threat to them. It's a threat to the regime.